A very good morning. Welcome to my presentation on the impact of quizzes in secondary school for lessons during movement control order. I'm Mr. Ong Marvin from SMK Telakumba, Penang. Introduction of the speaker. Mr. Ong Marvin is a secondary school English teacher at Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Telakumba, which is located in Penang. He graduated from a twinning program under the Ministry of Education, where he attended the Teacher Training Institute of Ipoh and the University of Warwick, England, obtaining a degree in teaching English as a second language TESOL. His research interests include technology in education and online instruction. Introduction of the topic. The problem faced by many students during the movement control order was the ability to learn effectively from home. Physical classes could no longer take place for approximately 3 months, as schools were temporarily closed because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The government made a wise decision to temporarily halt physical lessons for the safety of the students and to curb the spread of the infectious COVID-19. Students were worried that they would miss out a lot of learning, be behind the English language syllabus, and the negative impact on their performance for the upcoming examination when school reopens. Fortunately, there are many means of learning online, one of them being Quizizz. According to Iftaka 2016, virtual classroom refers to an online classroom that allows partakers to communicate with each other, view presentations or videos, interact with other participants, and engage with materials in work groups. One example of virtual classroom is Quizizz, which was launched in February 2015 that gamifies the learning process. This issue of students learning effectively during the movement control order warrants attention, as education for students should be carried out in a proper manner, even during challenging situations. Abstract. The issue faced by many students during the movement control order was the ability to learn effectively from home. They were worried that they would miss out a lot of learning, be behind in the English language syllabus, and the negative impact on their performance for the upcoming examination when school reopens. Fortunately, there are many online resources and means for students to learn. One of them is Quizizz. This study attempts to investigate whether Quizizz is an effective way to deliver lessons to students learning from home. A survey was done where various questions were asked through Google Form to gauge its feasibility throughout the 3-month period of its usage when schools were temporarily closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The implication of this study for English language teaching is the ability to share the feasibility of Quizizz as a method for online learning to replace physical classes in school. Results revealed positive findings regarding using Quizizz for learning during the movement control order. Firstly, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to learn at home effectively. Next, respondents found that Quizizz was easy to use and they were able to complete lessons properly. Furthermore, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to learn English in a fun and interesting manner. Besides that, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to enhance their learning through the incorporation of technology. Based on the findings, it could be said that Quizizz is an effective way to learn online during the movement control order. It could develop their reading and listening skills through the incorporation of reading materials and audio-based activities. Research questions. This study aims to answer the following research questions. 1. Is Quizizz effective for lessons in secondary school during the movement control order? 2. What are the challenges of using Quizizz for lessons in secondary school during the movement control order? Significance of study. This study would be important to investigate whether Quizizz could be an effective way to replace physical classes in the classroom when students have to learn from home. This would be helpful to cover classes that were missed and also to provide additional practice for students to complete at home. It is hoped that the data obtained would help to answer whether teachers could replace teaching and learning in the physical classroom through Quizizz, including its advantages and disadvantages that comes with it, for teachers thinking of alternatives to teach and deliver lessons online. Method. The data collection is based on data obtained through quantitative research. A survey through Google Form was carried out in order to find out whether students find Quizizz was effective for lessons during the movement control order and also if there were any challenges of using Quizizz. This survey consisted of 12 questions in total and were based on Likert scale. A sample of 30 students was selected through purposive sampling in order to ensure that all the participants of the survey had undergone quizzes and were of the same age. For this study, students were 16 years old and currently Form 4 students. Gender of the students was not a criteria of the purposive sampling. A random amount of males and females were selected to form 30 students in total. The data was analyzed in order to find out whether students found Quizizz to be an effective for lessons in secondary school during the movement control order and if there were any challenges of using Quizizz. The data was processed and tabulated in the form of bar chart. The highest percentage for each response would support or deny the assumptions given. Results and discussion. Results revealed positive findings regarding using Quizizz for learning during the movement control order. Firstly, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to learn at home effectively. Secondly, respondents found that Quizizz was easy to use and they were able to complete lessons properly. Thirdly, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to learn English in a fun and interesting manner. Next, respondents found that Quizizz enabled them to complete tasks given by the teachers easily. Besides that, respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to enhance their learning through the incorporation of technology. On top of that, respondents found that the teacher utilizes Quizizz in a way that they could understand a lesson effectively. Based on the findings, it could be said that Quizizz is an effective way to learn online during the movement control order. Advantages of Quizizz. There are a total of 6 survey questions pertaining to the advantages of Quizizz. Question 1 to 6 are displayed here. Based on the data, we can see that students mostly agree and strongly agree that Quizizz brings about advantages. Next, let's look at the disadvantages of Quizizz. There are a total of 6 survey questions pertaining to the disadvantages of Quizizz. Question 1 to 6 are displayed here. Based on the data, we can see that most students either strongly disagree with that there are no disadvantages of Quizizz. In conclusion, based on the findings from the Google form, most of the respondents found that Quizizz allowed them to learn at home effectively, was easy to use, and they were able to complete lessons properly, allowed them to learn English in a fun and interesting manner, enabled them to complete tasks given by the teacher easily, and allowed them to enhance their learning through the incorporation of technology. It is hoped that this research could help other educators to understand the strengths and weaknesses of using Quizizz for online lessons. These are 8 of the references that I used. The end. Thank you for taking the time to watch my presentation. Much appreciated.